What's going on, guys? This is Sid, and today we're going to be going over YCS Bologna as well as the deck list and try to figure out how the format really shaped up, because some things definitely did change. And in case you didn't know, K9 Vanquish still, gained a lot of popularity lately, and the reason for that is because it has such a good Dragon Tail matchup, and the most played deck in not only, I guess, Europe, obviously by far, but also North America slowly but surely is Dragon Tail now. Everybody's playing this deck, and for a very good reason. It just has a very good matchup against basically everyone. It's just a really balanced deck. It doesn't really have too many, flagrant flaws. But, obviously when people respect the deck a lot, everybody has Retaliant C in their side, etc. And people know how to beat Dragon Tail. So this deck is falling out, not really in terms of, numbers of, representation, but maybe in conversion, it's not doing as well. And then other decks like Vanquish Soul are doing super well in terms of conversion, even though not even that many people play the deck. That's just to give you an idea of how good the deck is and how good of a meta call it is, and also other decks such as Malice. So yeah, before we go any further, as always, you know the drill, smash the like and subscribe button. Really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And with that being said, let's get right into it. So as you can see, it was an event with over 2,400 players. I don't know why it shows 2,429 here, because on the Neuron app, I'm pretty sure I saw 2,471. That's the number I remember, but anyways, doesn't really matter too much. And obviously, it's a top 64 event. And with the new system, it's 15 rounds of Swiss, which is ridiculous. It's so long. And in case you're wondering as well, did I manage to get top 64 at the event? Unfortunately, no. I went 11-4, so technically I could have gone top 64. I had the same score as basically everyone you're seeing, here. A lot of people got hold on tiebreakers, and I was one of them because I got my first and my second loss on round 3 and 4. Which obviously it hurts a lot for that. So if I lost my rounds later, it wouldn't have been that bad. I still finished 7-2 at the end of day 1, and then I won round 10, and then I lost round 11 and 12, and then I won 3 in a row. But yeah, unfortunately no playmat for me and no bragging rights, but it is what it is. I'll get it next time. It's fine. A lot of interesting decks actually were played in here. For example, if we go down here, Roselle's list. It might have been pure Azamina or something. I don't know. I've seen a deck list with Impulse and stuff, and it's clearly not White Forest. I don't know if it was Roselle who played that, but either way, it's just very interesting deck list. Pure Azamina. I don't really know if that works, but it might have not been that. Maybe I'm mistaking with something else, but yeah, unfortunately we don't have the deck list for this one. Would have been really cool. We're obviously going to start with the winning deck list. So, Pierre Burgal from France. So, yeah, 40 cards, okay. Not that many hand traps. A lot of consistency cards, so 3 case, and then also, the reinforcement of the army, the Call by the Grave, and the talent on the main deck, not even citing that, so we can cite Gravekeeper's Inscription instead, as well as there can only be 1. And also citing a 3rd Lupus when we're all remaining 2. In case you didn't know, this is really good against Yumi Mitsurugi. So, you're going 2nd, you can go Lupus into Typhon, Typhon into Zeus, attack over something, make a Zeus. Well, I mean, yeah, just Typhon, attack over something, and then make a Zeus, yeah, obviously, and then just clear the whole board. And yeah, this is the one deck that just plays the quick play spell every single time with all 3 monsters, so Jax, Werewolf, and also 2 Rippers. So Noroi is particularly good in this deck because you never run out of stuff that you can make with the monster that you summon off of it, because you're locked into K9s only while you control that monster. And yeah, the Nash Knight package. Feels really good to be able to play that, because if you're playing a deck like Crystron K9, you absolutely never have the extra deck space for that, but obviously in this deck, it's completely fine. And also managed to squeeze in 2 copies of Rock of the Vanquisher, because I know a lot of people, their extra deck is super tight. They couldn't afford to play this card because they had to play Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis. So they were considering even cutting the 2nd copy so that they could play Rocks to the Vanquisher, which is, Vanquish Soul Rocks, the rank 4 Xyz monster, just so that you can turn any Vanquish Soul monster into a Zeus to break boards. And yeah, for the most part, I mean, the main deck is pretty standard, but yeah, very nicely done to Pierre. And the side deck, this is a trend that is gaining a lot in popularity as well. Main decking 3 Fua, and then siding the other 6 Charmies. And Droll, usually Droll is in the main deck for K9 decks, but not this one, so it's in the side, which is pretty much the same thing. And yeah, for more hand traps, that makes a lot of sense. The only real flex spots would be the Gravekeeper's Inscription. Could have been something else, and also the Call by and Talent could have been in the side deck. So you might have been able to squeeze in, I don't know, Ghost Bell. But you don't really lose to Dragon Tail. It's actually a very favorable matchup for you, because the Flame doesn't negate much because you don't play a lot of spell cards to begin with. And then the Sting doesn't really matter too much. I mean, your deck plays Shifter, so you don't even need the Graveyard all that much. It only really hurts the Lantern, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, you don't really care about Horn either. It's easy to summon monsters in defense. And also if you go Joko summon Lupus, it's really good against Dragon Tail because you summon both in defense. And then, you know, you make a rank 5, you attack over something, and then you just Zeus everything away. It's pretty nasty. So yeah, I like that a lot. And also no chaotic elements, I just realized that. Anyways, moving on to some more deck lists. This was Pure Yummy. Usually Pure Yummy doesn't really play any spice. But there's a lot of going first cards in the side deck. So 3 Inscription, 1 Anti-Spell, 1 Judgment. It's crazy how both the first and second place deck list played Gravekeeper's Inscription. Really speaks volume on how good the card is. It's a turn skip against so many decks. Like, you activate this against Dragon Tail, neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard when you're going first. It's basically just an insta-win, and against certain matchups, it can even be a good card going second. And also 2 Lancia, not 3. I believe Pierre didn't even play a single Lancia. So it's definitely something that you can do, because yeah, this card is just overall busted. It really is that good. Sometimes it hurts you, but like, if you call the Dweller effect, it really doesn't do anything to you, and if anything, it can help you out, so that your opponent can't go like 5 mana and then fuse away some stuff and then use effects on your turn. So it's also a card that can protect you from certain hand traps, but obviously Arthalion is still gonna resolve. We don't have the Malice deck list, but we do have the other 2 deck lists from top 8, actually more deck list. Oh, and we also have Malice and Mitsurugi. So we're gonna check all of them. So this was K9 Mitsurugi. I love this deck so much. This is really interesting because you get like the best of both worlds. K9 can bridge into Mitsu and Mitsu can bridge into K9. The only problem is that there is no 7 Tachyon with Dragaluxion here. So in this deck list, we have to draw K9 in order to be able to K9 combo. However, we can still obviously bridge from K9 to Mitsurugi if we play the Ashlan U1000 with the Magic Key. But again, this player chose to not care at all. So he's not playing any of the bridges. Basically, the only way he can Mitsu or K9 is if he draws any of the engines. I think one of the problems that I kind of have is the inclusion of Kusanagi and Aramasa when you're already playing, you know, a lot of normal summons in the form of Noroi. And I guess there's only one case. It's really not too bad. It makes sense, but to me, I would try to play the bridge instead of playing those cards. But I definitely understand what where he's coming from, because when you get hand trapped and you draw like those bricks, it feels a little unfortunate. So I don't disagree with the sentiment. I'm sure that he got rewarded for that decision. Obviously, he got top 4, so maybe there is some merit to not playing the 2 cards that allow, I mean, you know, the 7 Tachyon as well as the Magic Key in order to allow both engines to bridge to each other. There definitely has to have some form of, you know, good logic behind that. Still playing Droll and Logbird with the Artifact Durandal so that when we get hit by Fua, we can punish our opponents for that. Again, Vanquish Soul didn't do that, which is very interesting, but Vanquish Soul has the ability to play way less hand traps, whereas a deck like this, you know, it has a lot of wiggle room, so it's completely fine. Nothing too surprising for the most part in the main deck. The extra deck, I mean, it's a little more loose because there's no, you know, Dragaluxion, no Harbinger, no Ashlan, so we get to play more cards. Yeah, that's fine. And then, yeah, the side deck, really well prepared for a lot of decks. I mean, Lancia with the Shifter, which is very interesting. Yeah, Shifter in... I mean, yeah, technically, when you think about it, both archetypes don't really lose too much to Shifter. K9 Crystron loses to Shifter, but that's because of the Crystron stuff. It's not because of the K9s. So that's the reason why a deck like this can play Shifter, and Vanquish Soul can play Shifter, but other K9 decks sometimes can't. And then, yeah, 3 Meows, 2 Perillia, with 3 Fisher, and also 3 Imprim. I really wonder how that performed for him. That's interesting. Because, yeah, a lot of people are not playing board breakers, really. They're just playing only hand traps, especially in Europe. Nobody plays Dark Ruler. Absolutely nobody. Anyways, this was Joshua Schmidt's deck list. Pretty good, pretty good. So, congrats to him, of course, as always. Yeah, main decking the Shifter, and then 2 Bestials in the main deck. That's interesting. Obviously, there are Dark Attributes, so it makes sense. And they were just overall decent when they resolve. You can break boards with them. Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis in the extra deck, as I've mentioned, with the Vanquish Soul Rocks, so that we can, again, Zeus our opponents easier. Apart from that, I mean, yeah, citing the Trap card instead of main decking, so we play less bricks. Way less spell cards in general. I like this a lot. I don't want to play too many spell cards against Dragon Tail. I want to draw monsters against them, so that I can naturally break the board without allowing the Flame to ever be live, you know? And a card like Case for K9 is really terrible against Dragon Tail because it can get negated at any moment, even when you're about to Zeus your opponent. If, like, you already use the Case for K9 and your opponent let it resolve, your opponent can still get that draw. I don't want my opponent to get a draw because sometimes it allows the 5 mana to be live all of a sudden, which is kind of unfortunate. And also it just gets popped sometimes, so it's just like such a bad starter going second. Going first, it's fine, obviously, but Chaotic Elements, you can argue, is just a better card going second, especially in a world where people still play Razio and stuff like that. Yeah, not playing that many hand traps over. I mean, yeah, still, you know, actually it's still a lot, huh? Because the side deck has 12 hand traps, so I was gonna say, like, okay, yeah, it's just like 3 Fua, 3 Ash, 2 Bell, 2 Bestials only. It's 10, but then it's technically 16 because there is Holy Sue and Izuna. So this deck doesn't really have... Oh, no, actually 17 because of Shifter. Oh, I'm blind. No, 17 hand traps is a lot. What? No, it's perfect for Vanquish Soul. That's exactly what they need going second. Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, overall, just a very well done deck list. I understand everything about the side deck as well. There's no Lancia, though. So I don't know if, like, Lancia would have been good for him or Imperm, like was a better decision. I didn't check his deck profile, but I'm gonna do that when I have a bit of time. Branded Dragontail from Danilo, another really good player from Europe. Okay, this was really interesting. This is the first time that I see Retelling C in a Dragontail player's side deck, and I've heard about this theory from other people where the bad players do that because they want to have like an edge over the good players by blowing them out. But if you're really good, apparently you don't need a card like this because you can just outplay and outgrind your opponent. However, we're seeing a really good player side decking 2 Retelling Cs, and obviously it hurts you. So you're doing this really just for one matchup, but when one matchup is basically half your rounds, I can definitely understand the logic behind doing this. So yeah, Retelling C is definitely a logical card to play in here, especially if your side deck is not too tight. You know, we're playing Imperms in the side deck, which is super interesting. And Prosperity, this is not my first time seeing Prosperity. Technically, it's also not my first time seeing Imperm. I'm just not like the biggest fan because it doesn't really give you anything. You can't recycle it back. To me, I would prefer playing a card like Veiler. That's what people were playing before, but whatever. It's fine. It's not like it changes that much anyways. And yeah, the extra deck is like slowly but surely becoming like uniform for everyone. You know, everybody's on Philia Regis and Chaos Star Source. Everybody's on Mysterion as well because the card is cracked against K9 base decks. Sometimes it can just be broken, especially against like pure decks, like decks that only play like one kind of type. It's just a blowout against them. You banish literally their whole field. So if you don't have like too many disruptions, this is one of the best one disruption that you can have. It's a game-ending card when it resolves. Okay, this is Malice. Nothing interesting here other than the fact that we're playing Veiler in the main deck. I'm pretty sure this deck list has to be playing like 20 hand traps. 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20. There you go. I'm used to it. 20 hand traps with like probably... what, like 11 starters or something? It's hard to count starters in a deck like this because there's a lot of 2-card combos. Like you can draw, you know, a Malice plus a Bestiole, a Malice plus an Adignister, stuff like that. So whatever. You can draw like a hand trap plus backup, and that's basically full combo. Side decking 8 freaking going first cards. Technically 9 if you include Shifter. That is ridiculous. Oh my god, Call by the Grave, Talent, and then 3 Mistaken Arrest and 3 DDG. Not trying to lose to any deck going like when you go first. When you go first with a deck like this, it's checkmate. You cannot lose. I guess instead of Different Dimension Ground, it could have been Dimension Fissure. You can argue it would have been better. I don't know, because people are not playing Lightning Storm and Duster, in case you've realized. Nobody's on board breakers at all. It's only pure hand traps. So maybe it should have been that, but I don't know. There is obviously always merit to playing DDG. DDG again. My god, with no thrust, by the way, so... Again, it could have just been like a floodgate that you have to physically open. It would have been the same shit anyways. And yeah, Mitsurugi, I mean, obviously this deck has to play double Cyclone because it really needs that Mitsurugi ritual. It's a one-of anyways to resolve. Otherwise, you know, you're not doing much of anything. And also same thing with Mitsurugi Prayers. You activate that, your opponent flames negates, and then you dodge, and then you also destroy the Sting. That hurts like crazy. And if you have like nothing else in your graveyard, your opponent is also not able to chain the Sting to draw a card. Unless you're like Ashed or Belled your opponent, then okay, sure, your opponent can draw. But yeah, also, you know, side decking more Chummies. That's crazy. Everybody's on like 6, 7, 8, 9 Chummies. Never only playing Fua. It's nuts. It is now we're only going to be checking the really interesting deck list because, you know, top 8 was cool and all, but now it's time to move on to some more spice, kind of. Okay, so we've got Lunalight, we've got Memento, we've got... obviously Gem Knight. So we have 2 Lunalight deck lists. This one is completely different from the second one, if I recall correctly. So this is branded Lunalight. It got top 16. Really impressive. And it's a 43 card deck list. there's a lot of things that I didn't understand when I first saw this list, because there's Fallen Virtuous, which doesn't really seem like it does anything good for you right away. You know, it's almost like as if this player was trying to play this deck as like a control deck, kind of, because, I mean, I understand how you're breaking your opponent's board, but like by the time you get any form of value with the Fallen Virtuous, it might be a little too late. That might be like my only issue, but I mean, I still understand. It's still a good card. I still wonder though, but like over time, you get to send like the Albion to set the Branded Fusion, and then you can next turn use it. And are you using? Oh, okay, so you're making Rinbrum with Branded Fusion. You're not making Lubellion. That is very interesting. Oh, that is crazy interesting. Yeah, okay, because obviously Branded Fusion is a one card double Ligro Dancer, everything you can ask for. It's really broken. You just send Yellow Martin, and then yeah, you make this, you search Masquerade, and then you pop off from there. And if you draw the Masquerade, then you just send Silverhound. Because, yeah, this requires a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast Monster. It's basically a Trap Brigade Fallen Valbaz. So, yeah, pretty nice. That's crazy. And then when it goes to the grave, even if you get nibbed, you get to make, like, an Albion in your opponent's turn, or, like, a Dragon that devours the Dogma. So, I obviously understand the whole Branded Fusion package. The only thing that I'm a little iffy about is the Fallen Virtuous. I'm just not sure if you need it, because it could have been something else, you know? It could have been... I'm not sure. You could have played just like 40 cards, you know, theoretically. The Lunalight package, only playing 2 Black Sheep, I guess. Then I don't think he's missing anything else. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, yeah, okay. He's playing Tiger Wolf. Okay. I'm not blind. Okay, only 2 Tenki. That's completely fine. 3 Heavy Poly. Thank you. Finally, someone who's playing 3 Heavy Poly. Bro, I was tired of seeing only like 1 or 2 Heavy Polys in the main deck, bro. The card is correct. You're not trying to play any less than 3. What? And then 1 Lunalight Fusion, that's fine. You can play 1 and then side 2 more copies, or you can side Thrust. Yeah, this card's not as good as Heavy Poly, obviously. It's just that it's searchable by your engine, so that's the reason why it's still a good card. Call by the Grave, I understand the talent. I'm not a fan of. I would just not play the card whatsoever, so I just don't think it's good, really. Like, by the time it's live going second, it's way too late. And against Mitsurugi Yami, this card is never live, because your opponent never has to use any kinds of effects, because Herald of Arclight is just a continuous effect. He doesn't need to use the Omni Negate. And your opponent is also never going to be using a monster effect during your main phase. He can just use it on the battle phase, and then Book of Moon, whichever monster is trying to attack over Herald. So I think Talent is just a shit card overall. Even against Dragon Tail, it's not a good card. Because they can use their trap cards before using their monster effects. And then this card, it takes like 25 years for it to finally be activatable. And by the time it is, all you can really do with it is draw 2 cards. And you lost so much momentum that it doesn't do enough. So... yeah, don't play this card, please. Maybe it was good for Georges, but yeah, nonetheless, man, he performed really well. He went 12-3, so huge shoutouts to him. This is a Lunite deck, and it's still citing way more a lot of chummies. I mean, 6 more chummies, and no Drill and Logbird. But he's citing 3 Ash, obviously, for going first, because you know this deck doesn't have the ability to play infinite hand traps, so it makes sense that you're not main decking the Ash. But you're main decking the powerful hand traps such as Fua and Impulse, which makes a lot of sense. And then Lightning Storm Duster, this is the exception to the rule. I know I said decks in general are not playing board breakers. This is the one deck that does play board breakers, Lunalight, because the engine is very strong. So if you can just make your opponent's board a little worse, and you can resolve a card like Heavy Poly or Lunalight Fusion, you can win what a lot of people would deem unwinnable games just because this card is a custom card. Anyways, now we've got another Lunalight deck list. But this is way, way more standard. More people are playing a deck like this than Branded Lunalight, but Branded Lunalight is really nice. I mean, I obviously understand the logic. This is almost identical card for card to the deck list that I was playing up until... I mean, I was going to play Lunalight for YCS Bologna. Crystron was also a last-minute pick. Oh, actually, no, that was for YCS Pittsburgh, never mind. But yeah, I was also going to side exchange. This card's really nice. And then, yeah, Ash, Jewel, that was also in my side deck. Lightning Storm and Duster, I was back and forth on it. The last spot, I forgot what it was. I know I used to play the Shadows package before, but I cut it because I also needed the extra deck space. But yeah, we're playing 8 fusions here. Hold on, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, okay, so usually I like to play 9 just to have, you know, more, I guess, more wiggle room, but whatever, it's not the end of the world. Only 2 Perfume Dancer I'm not a big fan of. I think Saber Dancer literally just never comes up, so I would cut it for the 3rd Perfume, but apart from that, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. And you can also argue 2 Perfume might be enough, so it's not bad. And then, yeah, Talmium 7, my man, I love it. Broken. And yeah, Talent, again, I'm not a big fan of. I would cut this just to play 40, and then quite literally everything else I like a lot. You know, he's playing the Foolish Goods with the Serenade Dance, with the Tenki, a lot of board breakers. Thrust in the main deck, I'm not sure if I like it too much. You can still thrust in the Black Gold Laps when you're going first, so it's fine. And going second, obviously, you're getting heavy poly. And also only playing one Lunalight Fusion. That's completely fine. No Impulse anywhere to be found. That is interesting. I would play Impulse before I would play Lightning Storm and Duster, for sure. I think Impulse is a better card than this, because even against Labyrinth, you can Impulse their trap card and stuff like that. Obviously, that was a random example, but it's really just to give you an idea that even against trap decks where Lightning Storm and Duster would be good against, Impulse is still good against, like Apophis the Swamp Deity, for example. You know, it instead of trading one for one, I mean, you're trading one for one either way, but, you know, anyways. Memento, this got top 64. Pretty nice. Golden Slicer in the side deck. With Double Cyclone, this makes a lot of sense because you can't play a card like Double Cyclone in a deck like K9 Crystron, or, I mean, K9 decks in general, because if you activate Keys for K9, your opponent, like, negates it with Flame. It's not like you can dodge, because then you're negating your own card, technically, so you're not getting any value. But when you're activating spell cards, like quick play spell cards or normal spell cards, you want to be able to dodge them and, you know, get full value with Double Cyclone, so it definitely is very logical. I find it really interesting how there's the Horned Dragon in the side deck. There has to be a very good reason behind that. I'm not sure. I think siding Ash instead of main decking it is wild. This makes me want to believe that this is a going second deck, because this would absolutely not be in the side deck if it was a going first deck. So, you know, playing 9 Shummies with 3 Super Poly. But even then, like, this deck is broken when it goes first, or are you really trying to, I don't know, play this deck as a going second deck? Also, one of my big problems with Memento, and one thing that makes me not like this deck too much right now, is the fact that Dragon Tail is a popular deck, and people are playing Retang C for Dragon Tail, but it just so happens that Retang C also wipes the floor with Memento. You can chain Retang C to Grand Breakout, to Bone Party, and to Memento Fusion, and it's just a blowout, and to 1-for-1. It hurts way too much, because it's not like you have to draw one of those 10 cards to play into it. Like, your monsters would get into those spell cards to play into it, so I don't know, man. I still think Memento is a good deck. Of course, it's the high ceiling combo deck that I can think of if it pops off, but there's obviously some flaws to this deck, so I don't know. But it's still a really good deck. I think it's a going second deck. You can catch people off guard, but I don't know. 9 freaking Shummies. Speaking of going second, this deck actually destroys people going second. It's really scary. So yeah, obviously this is go second Gem Knight. It can Crystal Log people. So the combos that you make, I forgot. This is like a generic link to that you... Hold on a second. There was a reason for it, but yeah, whatever. You make this, and then you make Gigantic, and then you summon, I think, Diviner, you send Christia, and then you revive back off of Abaoku. Oh, there you go. This is a generic link to Fiend to make Abaoku. And then, yeah, you revive back this, and I forgot what this does, but it's a level 2. And yeah... I have no idea. I forgot. I forgot the Christia combo, but I know for a fact it's Gigantic, Summon Diviner, send Christia, and then, yeah, revive it back with Abaoku. It should be a 1-card combo. It should be doable with either Armadillo or Nephrim or Dispersion. I believe those... I mean, obviously, Brilliant Fusion. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think so. I hope so. It would be kind of rough if Brilliant Fusion wasn't a 1-card starter. And, yeah, Quartz does literally nothing going first, but going second, it's the nuts. Yeah, you can set Brilliant Fusion going second, and then you're locked into... Oh, yeah, this card's completely broken. And yeah, you also have Scatter Fusion that is extremely broken. Yeah, pretty much all of that is just going second stuff, because you're really just summoning Gem Knights, and Gem Knight monsters have, like, no interruption effects. It's really just, like, you stop your opponent as much as possible, and then you activate a spell card that summons, like, infinite fusion monsters, and then you kill your opponent. It's a really basic OTK deck, but it's really nice, you know, it's basically Tenpai 2.0. And it doesn't even play that many hand traps. It's really just 7 in the main deck. Not citing that many, but still, you know, Ash, Brillia. Condaxi is interesting. Vingolf's Blessing is also interesting. It's also not my first time seeing it. But yeah, you can send this, maybe? I don't know. No, hold on, definitely not. It sends a Light Fairy from your deck to grave. So yeah, I do not know. I do not. You can send this, actually, so it's an extra starter. Yeah, it gets you more consistency. Maybe it's a going first card. So yeah, it's cool. I like it. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else that is like really worth going over. There's a lot of missing deck lists as well, so you just keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, the conclusion is that Vanquish Soul performed incredibly well. It had a great conversion rate, 8 out of 64, and then only 3 pure yummy in 64. The Mitsurugi Yummies, we had 6. So there was 9 Yummy decks in general. And then for Mitsurugi, 8 in total. And then for Dragon Tail, 10. So obviously that was the most represented one. Again, there's 22 missing. So everything that I'm saying right now, just take with a grain of salt. Because this is technically out of like 42, not out of 64. And yeah, Malice 5, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Fantastic, beautiful. And also some spicy decks. That's actually just so nice to see. Every time you see like White Forest or Memento Gem Knight, you're like, alright, this format isn't completely done for yet. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know how you feel about the format in the comment section below. I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.